From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonder's Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello and welcome to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, joined by our editor of the Wow Report, James St. James, and Tom Campbell, our chief creative officer.
Hello, hello.
Is Tom wearing new glasses? I just need to point this out.
They're newish. Yes, they have a blue inner rim to them.
Yes, they're very chic. For our listeners out there, Tom looks better than he's ever looked before.
Why, thank you, James.
They're gorgeous. And I'd like to welcome a very, very special guest this week, Jazz Tangay, senior artisans editor of Variety magazine. We're going up in the world.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for being here.
She's the youngest senior editor on the planet Earth, is what I'm telling you.
And what we're doing, we count every week, we count down the top 10 things this past week that made us go, wow. And with that auspicious introduction, let's just start with the countdown. Number 10, Tom.
Number 10.
I know I am the bearer of bad news. I am the rest in peace reporter here at the Wow Report. But, you know, they catch you out of the blue. And Gavin MacLeod, famous for many things, but famous for the Mary Tyler Moore Show and for Love Boat.
Murray
and Captain Stubing,
yeah.
Passed away at 90. And you just, you know, in the show business world, you realize, you know, this guy was a character actor for years and years and years in the 50s and 60s. I remember him because I watched Bad TV growing up. He was one of the minor players on McHale's Navy.
Yes.
And so I knew his name, but he was always he's kind of schlubby looking. He's not a leading man. And
yet I had a crush on him totally as Marie. I loved him. And I love Ted Baxter too, but that's a different story.
And they say in these obituaries, I've been reading up more about him, but he originally read for the role of Lou Grant, Mary's boss, eventually played by Ed Asner. And it was him. He read the audition. He said, I got my laughs, in quotes. And he said, but then I said, do you mind if I read for Murray? And they said, oh, it's a much smaller part. He goes, I don't mind. I think it's my part. And so he manifested himself into the role of Murray. The Mary Tyler Moore Show was a smash, critical and ratings hit for 7 years, from 1970 to 1977. So many classic episodes. The last episode where they all cry and hug each other, and I treasure you people, is amazing. Before that show aired, he had landed the role of Captain Stubing on the Love Boat. So he went right from a smash 7-year run on the Mary Tyler Moore Show to a not critically acclaimed but massive pop culture show, The Love Boat, I think for another maybe
I think it was 11 years.
11 years. Yeah. So and that was, they were both on Saturday night. Gavin MacLeod for 18 years, look at me, Lou Math out loud, was Mr. Saturday Night. And The Love Boat, I mean, I transitioned.
No, we are not going to disparage The Love Boat here. Because The Love Boat was the seminal. I loved The Love Boat more than any other show, more than the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I'm just going to say it.
There you go.
But The Love Boat has been a sort of laughingstock of TV for generations.
All of you.
Jazz.
Love Boat had Ethel Merman, Ann Miller, Olivia de Havilland, Andy Warhol, Halston, Gloria Vanderbilt.
I was trying to get to a place where it's like it's getting a critical acclaim that it's long deserved, but I guess
on MeTV every Saturday night or every Sunday night, I believe at 6:00 p.m. I watch it, and we are now in the 83, I think, when it started to go downhill. But those 70s episodes, nothing touches them. I'm absolutely sorry. They're fabulous.
My dear departed friends who were a couple forever, Art Bear and Charlie Colarusso. Art Bear was a writer on The Love Boat for all of those years, and they were magical years for them as a couple because Charlie was a producer too for the Dinah Show, but they, in Love Boat, they would also go on cruises.
Yeah.
So there'd be
That's how they got everybody. That's how they got Olivia de Havilland.
Yes. And Gavin MacLeod, they only said lovely things about, although he may have been experimenting during that time. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's very
And the last thing I'll say is that they used to, Art and Charlie would be stories like when we were flying back from China with like, Alexis Smith. I mean, there's always these incredible stories, these incredible people who were not in their prime. But that's the thing, when you look back and you see the MGM stars, it's everybody. And also, I swear, everybody at ABC in their contract, if they were a new star their first year, they had to do a Love Boat. So Tom Hanks is on Love Boat.
There was always an old time star. There was always an up and comer, and there was always an ABC like dynasty star.
And there was always Charo.
Always Charo, or Florence Henderson, or Marion, Mrs. C, Mrs. Cunningham. What was her name?
I can't think of it because I'm under pressure. But yes, Marion Ross. Marion Ross.
But I do want to say, hold on, I just want to say that one of the most touching things about Gavin's death was Ed Asner tweeted, had a really wonderful tweet in which he said, there's just Betty and me left, and I will be up meeting, seeing you soon, Gavin. I'm sure Betty and I will be there ASAP. And
Ed will be. I don't think Betty's leaving anytime soon.
Anyway, that sort of choked me up a little bit.
Thank you, Gavin, for a half a lifetime of Saturday nights. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, though, about Love Boat? So you said they went on actual real cruises?
Yeah. I think they did a lot in studio on set, and they also did location shooting.
But the thing is most of the time they went to Puerto Vallarta, which is just a one-day cruise back and forth. So everybody got the Puerto Vallarta, but sometimes you went to Australia, sometimes they went to Japan.
Right. I think they did like a big China episode once when China was opening up.
And have they ever tried to bring the Love Boat back?
Yes.
Oh.
We need to do it with drag queens immediately.
Well, maybe it's a World of Wonder thing. Maybe it's the real Love Boat. Maybe we do a reality show where we get a bunch of has-beens.
I'm sure there's going to be a reboot now that you've mentioned it, Fenton.
A reboot. Yes.
Das Reboot.
Das Reboot. Okay, let's move on to number 9. What made you go wow this week, Jane?
Number 9.
Things Heard and Seen, a Netflix horror ghost story drama starring Amanda Seyfried and James Norton, who, if any of you watch PBS or BBC, he was in Grantchester. He was the hot, horny priest in Grantchester, and he's really handsome and really gorgeous. It's 1980 for absolutely no reason at all, except for they wear tights and leg warmers at some point. And he's a professor, and they move to a small, spooky town in upstate New York, as they always do, and they rent a haunted farmhouse that they didn't know is haunted, but the lights flicker, and the radio doesn't stop, and there's a strange smell that wafts through, and it's all this, the ghost story tropes. And he is a sort of a bastard, and he's having an affair, and then she's having an affair with this young, hot caretaker who is played by Alex Newstetter, and he's my hot boy of the week. And it's sort of good, and it's sort of horrible, and my suggestion is to watch it all the way through until the last 10 minutes, then turn it off and make up your own ending, because whatever you decide is going to be better than what they decided. It is Netflix has a tendency to have the worst endings. I did that What Lies Beneath a few weeks ago. Remember with the crazed merman? And that absolutely makes no sense. Netflix, I think they run out of money near the end, and they just say, let's end this. Let's just drop it. And that's sort of what happens. But I think you should watch this for Alex Newstetter and James Norton. They're both very hot.
And it's a movie, right? It's not a series.
Movie, yes. Okay. And it goes on a bit too long. But if you like sort of atmospheric ghost stories, this will fill that.
If you were selling this movie on QVC, they'd call it a one and done. It's a one and done. It's a movie.
There you go.
That's Things Heard and Seen, streaming on Netflix. All right, number 8.
Number 8.
We have to talk about Mare of Easttown, and that's why I'm so glad Jazz Tanguay is with us, senior artisan editor of Variety. I'm so glad you're with us, Jazz. Thank you for coming, because I think we all watched the last episode of Mare. Did you watch it, Tom?
I have not.
Oh, okay. We'll try.
It's on my to-do list.
We'll try to avoid spoilers. But
Tom's not a statistic then.
I haven't watched any of them yet. I was planning on doing them all next week. So
Okay, well,
go ahead and, I don't mind spoilers. Go ahead and do it.
Screw you two. I just got to talk to Jazz about the last episode. And the amazing thing is, Jazz, like the day after, did this one-on-one with Kate Winslet. And it's such an amazing interview. It's on Instagram Live. We'll post the link on the Wow Report. I mean, Jazz, when you heard you were going to be, you interview stars all the time, but was this like a star of star moment? Like, what was it like?
It was surreal because I think Mare of Easttown is like the biggest show in the world right now. And I say the world because everybody across the world is watching this somehow. And just when they said, like, can you do an IG live with Kate Winslet? Kate doesn't have Instagram. She doesn't have any social media. So that was my biggest concern, the tech aspect. Everything else, I'd actually spoken to her last year, so I wasn't nervous about speaking to her. But other people like, are you nervous? It's Kate. Are you nervous? I'm like, no.
It felt so just like a chat that you were listening in on. There was a lovely tech mix up at the beginning. And I always love those mistakes because it just makes everybody feel, oh, well, look, we're all in this together. And at one point she froze and disappeared. But oh my God, it was such a lovely chat.
She is Kate Winslet, and she's so, Titanic and Ammonite. I'm still reeling over her performance in Ammonite. I love her. Is she
Mildred Pierce? Mildred Pierce.
Mildred Pierce.
She is lovely and she's so chill. I mean, I spoke to her for Ammonite and we were meant to do a Zoom and here's a reveal. She had food poisoning, so she didn't go on camera and it was for the podcast anyway. So it was like, that's fine. We'll just sit here on a Sunday, cameras off, and I'm not going to put you through that. But no, she is lovely. I mean, Fenton, you've seen the IG and she shows up and she's like, oh, I didn't realize this was on camera. My hair's damp.
Just looking like $1 million with that sort of movie star glow. But her performance in Mare is so amazing. I mean, I don't know what it is because I'm naturally a grim, averse kind of person. So when I heard Mare of Easttown, I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. It's really dark and unrelieved in terms of that darkness. And yet her performance is just this powerhouse. Plus, the story is so unpredictable, genuinely unpredictable in a way. It twists and turns. And even though it's a sort of whodunit, by episode 5 of 7, the whodunit bit is kind of wrapped up. So you're thinking at episode 5, well, what are they going to do for the next 2 episodes? But oh my God, they stepped their pussies up in ways that are unimaginable, right, Jazz?
It was crazy because I think I was the same as you. We caught up, we'd fallen behind, and then we binged. Well, we binged it, and then it was like, oh, okay, so this is what's happened. She's rescued who she needs to rescue, and oh wait, there's 2 more episodes. So I got the episode, the finale on Wednesday, and I had to keep that secret and not spill it. There were moments where I came dangerously close and I was like, oh wait, Jen hasn't seen it yet. I can't say anything. But I think, as you say, it pivots to this whole idea of a mother would do or what parents would do to protect their kids ultimately. Yeah. I think that's what the biggest storyline became about. It wasn't the whodunit. It was the lengths that they would go through.
As a single gay man with cats, it sounds like the perfect vehicle for me to.
Well, do you think that she is a slam dunk for the Emmy?
Oh, everything. She's going to win everything. She should win an Oscar for this. Really. So
give her a Grammy.
She should get an EGOT. They should mint an EGOT right now and just give it. Because I think it is notionally a whodunit. But it's really about one of the most unsellable ideas, I think, of all time, which is grief and grief and loss. And you can never sell a show that's about grief and loss. And that's what it's exactly about. And oh my God, it really, I am someone who never wants to feel anything, which is my own problem for my therapist to deal with. But I really loved the sort of misery of this. You could feel the cold of Easttown. You could feel the clothes.
That's so interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's the same thing as Ammonite, where it's like you just felt the cold and the wet and the damp, and that's what she always has that damp hair. I guess that's her new trademark. she's cold and damp.
But here's a fun fact: that ending, which deals with her facing the grief that she's been avoiding for however many years, that almost didn't happen, and she says that on the Instagram that they didn't want to go for 2 endings. There was one before that with her and Julianne Nicholson. And here's another fun fact. Like, it's almost like the reveals that she kept dropping during this 30-minute period was like, so Julianne Nicholson's husband is the godfather to her son. So they knew one another before coming into the show. And I think that helped their dynamic so much. And Julianne Nicholson is phenomenal and should also win all the awards.
Absolutely, because at the core of the whole series is this relationship between Mare, played by Kate Winslet, and her best friend, Julianne Nicholson. And they're both mothers, and they have this intense best friendship that gets tested in ways, again, that you can't imagine. I just don't think I've ever seen anything like it, ever. And as a bonus, you've got Jean Smart in it.
Wow.
Because every now and then there are these brilliant moments of comedy which you think would be ill-fitting, but no, it just works. It's as you can see, I'm speechless.
I have to commend you for making me want to watch this more than ever, and still no spoilers. Thank you very much.
I just want to say that I think that maybe the reason why she's always cold and wet is it's a throwback to Titanic, and everybody wants to get Kate Winslet cold and wet so they can repeat the success of Titanic.
But Tom, you've got Guy Pearce and Evan Peters. That's another reason for you to watch it.
I do love Evan Peters, boy.
Guy Pearce, who we haven't seen in some time, or I haven't, I guess, used to be super, super gorgeous in
Memento.
Priscilla, right? He's in Priscilla.
Yes, that's where I first saw him. Yeah,
very sort of.
And Vita. What did you just say, Tom? Mildred Pierce. Yes, he was so good with Kate and Mildred Pierce.
But he's still handsome, and it's so good. Let's take a break because I'm just gagging on the fabulousness of Mare of Easttown. A series I thought I would never love. And Jazz, stick around with us because we have many more things that make us go, wow. But first, Blake is going to tease us all with a question.
I do have a question. It's another birthday question. Today is her birthday. She began modeling at 14, although she dreamed of becoming a funeral director as a child. She collects knives and is the goddaughter of actress Jacqueline Bisset. Who is she?
What? We'll have the answer for you on the Wow Report right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James and Tom and Jazz Tankay, Senior Artisans Editor of Variety. Blake, you had a question for us before the break.
Yes, it's a birthday question. Today is this woman's birthday. She began modeling at 14, although she dreamed of becoming a funeral director as a child. She collects knives, and she is the goddaughter of Jacqueline Bisset.
Oh! It's got to be.
Who is she?
No,
I think it's Dame Twiggy.
Oh, wait. It's Angelina, right?
That's what I was saying. Angelina.
Yeah.
It is Angelina Jolie.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Angelina.
Oh my gosh. Happy birthday, Angelina. Have you seen her in Those That Wish Me Dead?
No. Do I need to see that? I didn't want to see that.
No. Jazz, have you seen it?
I started it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wait, can you get a screener for that too, Fenton? Do I need to come over to your house and watch the movies?
There's the ultimate shade to say I started it because I'm a completionist and I too started Those That Wish Me Dead. All right, let's move on in our countdown. We've reached 10, 9, 8. Number 7.
Good for you.
Number 7.
It's June. June is Gay Pride Month, LGBTQIA. And we lost someone who had a very, very high profile and affected a lot of gay men's lives. And that's Jeffrey Sanker, passed away this past week. he has been called, let me get this right, the Sultan of the Soiree. He's the high priest of gay parties. His name packs a punch for me because, among many other things, he started off in working his way up in the nightlife scene. I don't know if he ever crossed paths with you, James. You guys might have been a few years up. You okay? And and he's credited with starting the White Party, which and the Circuit Party and the extravaganza. And on one level, that's gay heaven for so many people. They live for it, they died for it, they socialize around it, they meet their lovers there. And for a lot of other people with very skinny arms, I in large parts of my life was fearful of it, judged it, all that kind of stuff. And he was in a little bit of hot water because there was a circuit party in Mexico last year that didn't really follow protocols, but
didn't really follow it. Blatantly did not follow the protocol.
Yeah,
everyone was in lockdown, and he had a giant orgy of 1,000 men, maskless, in a giant pile.
Yes, and love him or hate him, he had a big impact on the community, especially for gay men. And it may not have. What do you guys think, or what are your memories or thoughts about Jeffrey Sanker?
I just never had the body for a circuit party, unfortunately. I did go to one once and felt more alienated. I wondered, well, maybe I'm not gay. It just was not, no tea, no shade. It just wasn't for me. I could, and the bizarre sort of ritualistic way they'd all take off their shirts and sort of gather like bees around the queen at the center with the best body in the middle. It was all just very not me.
Right.
I had a lot of run-ins with him back when he was at Peter Gation's Limelight and Tunnel, and he would do lots of those parties that the club kids were not allowed into because we would ruin the vibe of their Muscle Queen parties. So over the years I got to know Jeffrey, and he is a very nice guy, and it's very sad that he's gone. But I never got into the parties. No, I'm sorry, and I feel bad to bash him. He's died, but
yeah.
it was a moment. It was a definite. And he also did the White Party at Vizcaya in Miami. He did them around the country and all. I know the one at Vizcaya. I went to that one, and that's beautiful. The setting in that old castle, So
it's fun. You've been around long enough in any community, but especially the LGBTQIA community. And we look back, and there's a lot of things we would do differently today. But he did build something. He did create something in the world and that carries on today. And again, which is full of, there's different kinds of gays. So Fenton, I hate to tell you, but you are gay. You really are gay, Fenton. Even though you didn't fit in. My favorite part of his obituary was he was first listed as 56 years old, and then they changed it to 65. So just a hint to you guys, I think that's the best thing ever. But if you really love me, you'll give my wrong age if and when I pass away. But, rest in white party perfection, Jeffrey Sanker.
Awesome. Let's move on to number 6.
Number 6.
I binged the Kominsky Method over the weekend. Season 3 came out, and it's, it's a really interesting show. I enjoy it. I watch it mostly because my friend Lisa is on it, and she is absolutely spectacular. She plays Alan Arkin's drug-addicted daughter.
Lisa Edelstein.
Lisa Edelstein, yes. So fantastic. The show is about aging men. It's about getting old in Hollywood. It's Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin are best friends in the twilight of their years. And in this 3rd season, the character of Alan Arkin is dead because in real life, Alan Arkin has passed away. So a lot of it is Michael Douglas just sort of reflecting on their friendship and reflecting on his own mortality. And also on the show, what's so fantastic about it is that they always have these wonderful older stars that they bring back. Anne Margaret is on the show. Jane Seymour is on the show. Kathleen Turner is on the show. And they all
Romancing the Stone, bringing Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner back together.
They're ex-husband and wife, and so they're still sort of battling, and they're still sort of like trading quips back and forth. They're so funny together, and it's so great to see them. Haley Joel Osment is a Scientologist on the show, and he's sort of a wackadoodle. And they had to sort of reinvent the wheel a little bit, and so they put Michael Douglas is the executor of Ellen's estate, and so he's in charge of Lisa and Haley Joel's inheritance. So that's how they get to stay on the show. And it's who is it? It's Chuck Lorre from 2.5 Men. And you think, like 2.5, but he's really mining something sort of special here. And Jazz, what do you think of it? Do you watch the show?
I loved it. I actually interviewed Kathleen Turner and for a podcast, and I just loved her entrance. It's like, hello ex-wife, hello ex-husband, and it's Romancing the Stone, War of the Roses all over again. And her audition this season was just, there was something heartwarming about it, right?
Yes. Yeah. And everybody gets their big moments that they can submit to the Emmys. Everybody has like a big, funny scene or something. It's just, I'm really loving it.
Have you finished it, or are you still plowing through it?
No, I finished. I got through. Yeah.
Okay.
James, they did a lot at Musso and Frank's.
Yes, most of it. There's a lot of scenes and this year they always met at Musso and Frank's, and this year he goes by himself and has a drink set for Alan. It's very sort of touching.
It's a fun watch if you haven't watched it.
Number 5.
But Lisa Edelstein, right, James?
Yes, we've been friends for 37 plus years.
Because the bizarre thing
is what we say now, James. Over 10 years.
No, last night where did I see this article about Lisa Edelstein talking about the most embarrassing moment of her life?
Yes.
Was James St. James's name brought up?
Yeah. It was the Chicago Tribune, I think, maybe.
That's right. Yeah. And it was when she was a club kid in a sort of cohort, because you and Lisa E, as she was then known, were like, you were the it twins of the scene in a way. You were.
Yes.
And Lisa's reflecting on the most embarrassing moment of her life, which was when Maureen
Dowd
wrote a follow piece about her, followed her around for a day or a week or whatever, and wrote a big feature about Lisa E as a celebutante on the scene. And
it was Maureen's first big gig. She was for the New York Times, and the New York Times Magazine did something called New York, the bounciest city in the world, and Lisa was the bounciest girl in Manhattan. And so it really did a number on Lisa because it was too much too soon, and she didn't have anything behind her, really. She hadn't started really doing acting roles. And so that sort of screwed with her mind a little bit, that she was famous for just being famous. And she started getting all these stalkers. And at one point she had like these men waiting outside of her apartment for her, and people calling up and just like masturbating on the phone. And for a young girl, it was a lot. And so she talks about this in the article, how Can I
point out, if that stuff happened to you, you'd be okay with it, right?
Well, that was just it. At the time, she was trying to tell me all this, and I was like, "Oh, fabulous, darling," and not realizing that it was actually traumatic for her.
Yes.
And she talked about how that was very much a catalyst for her she started doing a one-woman show at La Mama, and it was she wrote. It was called AIDS. It was the first AIDS drama on the New York stage. Wow. And she played a number of different characters. She wrote it and she started it. And that was the first time that she started getting, serious attention. And that propelled her to Hollywood in her career ever since.
And of course, the paradox is that show came out of this article about it in the New York Times. Enabled that opportunity, right?
Yeah, and, it was a push me, pull me. It was a very sad.
But she quotes you. I want to read this little bit from the article. James St. James, my best friend, had a theory that if you can break out of obscurity for any reason at all, if you follow it up by showing you have talent, then you can sort of sidestep into the career of your dreams. And the funny thing is, he was absolutely right. So it's a nice tribute to you, James. And although it was a bittersweet moment in her life, the irony is what was the greatest setback was also the greatest leap forward. So I just thought it was a really great article. And I thought it was really brave of Lisa actually to reveal all this, because I had many embarrassing moments that I'm never going to reveal. But I thought it took real guts, and it was just very moving maybe I'm just in a sort of post-Mare mode. These sort of hard truths and the bitter lessons that they convey. I was like,
Well, that's always the interesting thing about Lisa to me, is that she manages to never live in the past, that she's always completely doing something new now, but she doesn't deny all the stuff that happened before, because there's so many people who were club kids who will never admit to it now.
And what an amazing career she has and has had. You know,
absolutely.
Long live Lisa Edelstein.
All right, let's take a break. Blake, do you have a question for us?
I do have a question. It's Pride Month, and you guys may already know this, but I think it deserves mentioning anyways. Which 3 presidents have officially acknowledged Pride Month?
All right, we'll have the answer for you right after the break here on the WOW Report.
You're listening to World of Wonders WOW Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hey, welcome back to the WOW Report. I'm Fenton here with James and Tom and our special guest, Jazz Tankay, Senior Artisan Editor of Variety.
Yay.
Oh, Blake, you had a question for us?
Yes, it's Pride Month, and I asked which 3 U.S. presidents have officially acknowledged Pride Month.
Let's give it to Jazz. What do you think, Jazz?
I'll go for Biden, because I know Biden has posted on that.
Check.
Definitely not the last one, who shall not be named. Obama.
Check.
Clinton.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, 'cause I would have said that maybe Bush Senior or Bush Jr., but he never did. What a piece of shit! Horrible goddamn Republicans.
Damn those Republicans.
All right, let's move on with our countdown of things that made us go wow this week. Number 4, Tom.
Number 4.
Jazz, you need to jump in this one. We are always talking about hacks, so we're doing a hacks update. I saw, as we all did, I think, and maybe James might be holding off on this one, but saw the first 2 episodes, fell in love, gay heaven, jumping from the rooftops. It was, it was everything ever good about being gay. It was the comeback. It was Joan Rivers. It was Sex in the City. It was oral sex. It was everything we like about being gay.
Liberace.
Yes. And then I saw, and HBO Max, they drop 2 episodes a week. And then I saw episodes 3 and 4 and hated it. Thought nothing worked. Thought it was awful. If they had shown these, I would not be into it. But because I'm dedicated to the investigative reporting of the media that we do here at the WOW Report, I watched 5 and 6, and it's really, really good again. So I don't know what you are much more. You see many more things than we do. What's your take on hacks?
I love it. I think I text Fenton yesterday saying, if you watch Mare of Easttown, you've got to watch this. This is like the Jean Smart resurgence. And she started off in Watchmen last year. I don't know, whatever. I've lost all concept of time. Then we've got Mare, and then we've got Hacks. And it is the greatest comedy. There's also a sadness in it. And can I just say how much I love her soda machine? Like, who has a soda machine in their kitchen?
Like you're at McDonald's or the movies. She has that kind of like.
But it's such a great show, and I think Jen and I were watching it. Was talking about like, who did the writers speak to get so much of this spot on? Like, there was the joke about the Busy Phillips watching thousands of her Instagram stories and then finally getting like something useful from it. But yeah, it is superb. And this is the one thing I did with Mare too. We get screeners, and I haven't watched the following episodes because I just like absorbing it with everybody else.
So what have you seen? So you're up to 6 now.
6, yeah.
Yes. And the middle 2 weren't that good, and it's just and the writers pulled it together. It's just it's so great because it's about 2 different generations, but you have to keep coming up with reasons for them to sort of come together and cross paths. And listen, it's really hard. It's really well written, and I'm to pick on the incredibly talented people that put this together is just my luxury as a someone with the microphone in front of his face. But I think they really found the rhythm again, and I'm in for the long run. I hope it continues to be as fabulous. What's the name of the young actress who plays the Gen X girl? Somebody's put this
know.
by. I have to learn her name because she's really good too, and Jean gets all the attention as well as she should. But it's a great cast. And James, there was relatively hot gay sex, unexpected gay sex that happened between two characters. That was kind of out
pulled
of the
me
blue.
in. Gene
Yes,
Martin,
I knew I had to get you. I know you have a
And a
lot to
soda
watch.
machine.
Move that to the top of the list.
I mean, my favorite moment still is her changing the cylinder of her soda machine, like yanking out the drawer, pulling out the cylinder and changing it. It's such a great series. And it's all about Jean Smart, I guess. Like whatever she does is amazing. But I think her co-star is also truly incredible. And,
We're being told that her name.
Hannah Einbinder. Blake just put it up. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong because that's what I do for a living. But Hannah Einbinder is here, her co-star, and what a great show. Hacks, it's back. Hacks is back.
I also love the fact they showed 2 episodes back to back. I think that's the new thing.
Perfect.
2.5 hours back to back. It's like
just enough.
Just enough. Yeah, exactly. So you get a little bit of a binge, but not a bulimic sense of binging. Just that right sense of pull. Yes. Let's move on to number 3, James.
Number 3.
I went to the theater this weekend, and I said I wasn't going to go to a theater until the fall. I went to a restaurant, remember, a couple weeks ago. I went to a party a couple weeks ago. Things I've said that I wasn't going to do. I still can't go to a club, and I still can't go to a concert, but I think I'm back in the theater again. I went to go see Cruella, and you talked about it last week, Fenton, but it was so good. I was so happy. Every moment, the outfits, the costuming, have you seen it, Jazz? Have you seen it?
I've seen it. It's stunning.
Okay. The garbage truck dress where she's floating off in the air as she's taking off on the garbage truck. So fantastic. The soundtrack is so good. It goes from the 50s to the late 70s. Every song blows your mind. She's fantastic. It's her best role since Easy A, easily. And I also thought that the guy who played Jasper, what was his name? Blah 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 blah.
Oh, you mean the shopkeeper?
No, Joel Fry, the African American, or the black guy. Really, really cute. Her best friend. It was the fat guy and him. He was really cute. And then there was the tall, bald guy too. Mark Strong, I think, is his name, and he was really handsome to me too. So that got me going. Also, we were just talking beforehand, and I was saying that I think I'm going to go see In the Heights in the theater. I think I might do West Side Story. I might do Tick, Tick, Boom. Have you seen any of these, Jazz? Have you seen Tick, Tick, Boom yet?
They're still making Tick, Tick, Boom as we speak.
Okay.
That's being made up in Toronto. But I've seen In the Heights. Yeah. I moderated a Q&A last night for the first time.
Is it fantastic? Is it a jump out of your seat?
It is. It's the kind of, I mean, you applaud after every number. It is so good. It's so joyful. And if you're going to go back to the movie theaters, it's either for Cruella, A Quiet Place 2, which I did, had so much anxiety, but did it, or In the Heights. You've got 3 films worth going back to the movies for.
Well, I also think later in the year I'm going to do Dune. I definitely want to see Dune on a big screen, and I will probably do West Side Story as well.
So the death of movies has been highly exaggerated, right?
Well, but there is no movie theater in Hollywood anymore. I had to go down by the Staples Center.
That's where I went. I went to the Regal. But the good thing is there's 2 good movies to see, and right now you can see them like in every 30 minutes.
Yeah, and there's only like 4 people in the theater, and it's a huge theater.
Yeah.
But very strange that there's no place to see a movie in Hollywood anymore.
Maybe somebody would buy the art play.
Hopefully.
Nobody's done that
Come
yet.
on, get to it. Yes.
Fenton, will you buy it?
I mean, I was just reading something about how the shares have been sort of taken over by the hackers who like jack up the prices of the shares. It's some sort of what was that share thing a few weeks ago where
are we talking about Cher the singer, or are we talking about
shares on the stock exchange?
The GameStop. Wasn't it GameStop?
It's been going for a bit of a sort of a Bitcoin ride. The shares have been going up and down in a crazy way. GameStop. Thank you, Blake. Yes, GameStop. The shares have been taken for a heist. But we were talking about Cruella, and I just say Cruella is in theaters and on Disney Plus now. By the way, I read this article, I thought, James, you were talking about John McCrae, who plays the shopkeeper. And I read this
the LGBTQ non-binary person.
And there was this article saying, oh, you know, Disney's fucked it up again about having a gay character in a movie. And I was like, hang on a second. The entire movie, Cruella, screams gay at every turn. And so why you focus in on this relatively minor character?
But, you know, Disney has a tendency to do that. They will have these, they will tout, we have a gay character, but it's a minor part that can be taken out for the Chinese, for the Chinese.
Yes, but meanwhile, the Trojan horse of the entire movie. I mean,
he doesn't get anything. He doesn't get a gay line. He doesn't get. There's nothing to show that he's gay except for the fact that he wears eyeliner and a pussy bow. I mean, really, that's all we know. That's the only reason he's non-binary. But there's no. He doesn't get any character development, and it's sort of like I think it's a fuck you. I think it's like they're straddling both sides. They aren't giving him anything gay, but yet they can say to a gay audience.
My point is, you've got this character in a movie that is all gay. It's like talking. It's like picking on the characters on top of the wedding cake, missing the entire wedding cake that you're in.
No, I don't think I am. I agree with you that it's a very camp movie, but I think that Disney plays it out of both sides of their ass. I don't agree with that.
I have one last final question. Did you approve of the pussy bow, James?
No, I think pussy bows are very 2019. I'm very sorry. Anyone who wears a pussy bow is just very ricochet to me.
Well, anyway, I love Cruella, and I love everything about it. And John McCrea is great in it, even though his part is too small. And according to James, he's unfortunately not doing any sort of topping or bottoming or something explicitly gay. So the whole movie is not gay and should be roundly condemned by everyone during Pride Month. All right, let's move on. At number 2.
Number 2.
Eurovision. Was on a couple of weeks ago. Jazz, did you see Eurovision?
I did not. I missed it, but I've heard all about it.
Yeah.
And
I have come
we
to
did get a point.
As
in England, the United Kingdom got no points, right?
Did we really? Oh my gosh.
I heard that. I could be wrong, but
you know, there has been talk about the Frock Destroyers going into Eurovision from Drag Race UK, and I think that would be amazing. I've come to appreciate Eurovision in the sense that for years it was this sort of unfashionable camp thing, but the last couple of years, it's an amazing window into what's going on in Eastern Europe. It's not Eurocentric in Italy, France, and all that boring old whatnot. But what's going on in Latvia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Moldova, I mean, they're just Romania. They are fantastic. These acts seem to step out of a kind of time capsule. And I just think in a sort of world of, you know, muck pop homogenization, to really see these extraordinary acts. I sent James the other week, and we'll post a clip on the WoW Report, a clip of Eurovision 2020 of the Russian entry. And it is beyond description. You just cannot. James, will you try and describe it?
Well, I honestly thought, Fenton, I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that it's Dimitri, Daddy-O, Lady Miss Kier, and Toa Toa. I honestly think that they've defected to Russia and they are being put up by the Kremlin to be in Eurovision. Tell me that wasn't Delight.
It was not Delight.
I'm sure.
But it's because there's something so Kmart or naff about it. Like, I can't put my finger on it, but it's just every kind of wrong. That adds up to something unique, spectacular, and different. That's what I'm loving about Eurovision at the moment.
And what was the Italians won, right? And then there was some big cocaine scandal. What was that?
The Italians won with a song called Zitti e Buoni, and I think the singer was caught ducking his head beneath the table
while he was performing?
No, in the sort of dinners thing afterwards. And I can't remember if he was supposed to be giving a blowjob or snorting cocaine, but I think he said he got sick or something. Whatever it is, it's
Someone,
As Tom is ducking behind the table.
someone had broken glass, is what he said, and,
Oh.
and then people said that he was doing cocaine. But then he said he would do a drug test, and I think he did, and it came out negative. So
Okay.
This was the 65th Eurovision Song Contest. 39 countries take part, and I think with 183 million viewers, it's the world's biggest live music event.
Well, now, has anybody ever come out of there and had a #1 worldwide hit song?
ABBA, many.
Oh,
ABBA.
wow.
Waterloo. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, my God.
Walking on Sunshine
Celine
says
Dion?
Blake.
Celine
What?
Dion was on Eurovision, like
Okay.
way back when.
Wait,
There
she
you go.
was Canada?
No, I
No.
think she represented. I forget which country she represented, but she did represent a country on
On the
Eurovision.
continent. Huh.
Hang on.
I really recommend the Ukraine entry from 2021, and we'll post a link to it. It's called Shum, and the lyrics go something like, Shum get twined with periwinkles, sowing hemp plants. It's a kind of electro folk thing. At the Ukraine, they're fabulous.
It feels like those denim jackets you'd buy in Melrose in the 80s that just had random words on them, kind of thing. Like, bad translations.
There you go. Celine represented Switzerland in 1988.
Really?
Fun
Interesting.
fact. So they gave us Celine and ABBA.
And Celine didn't have any hits before '89, did she? That was like her first. That was her breakout year.
David
That's
Foster
interesting.
discovered her, I think, for the States.
Huh.
All right, let's take our final break. And when we come back, we'll reveal the #1 thing this week that made us go, wow.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back. I'm Vincent here with Tom and James and our super duper special guest. Thank you for your patience, Jazz Tange, media artisan editor of Variety. Yeah, what is #1 this week then?
#1.
I wanted to bitch a little more about the gays. Oh no. This, all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over Facebook, everyone is bitching about the Target Pride line that they came out with. And there's a suit that's a rainbow suit with short sleeves and short shorts, and everybody is being very nasty about it. It's sort of cute. I mean, I don't know that I would actually wear it, but what do you think? What do you think about corporations taking over Pride? And that's a topic we've probably discussed before, but what do you think?
I'm of two minds, because part of me, because we live in the gay bubble, because we're so, surrounded by it and comfortable in our world and what we do. Thank God. What a privilege. What a blessing. You think you're tone deaf. You're not getting it right, corporations. And I have to say, for a show that I might work on, every now and then we get these integrations where it's like, that's a straight person telling us to do Pride. Like they don't quite get it. But I also think, and things can cut both ways, but if you're like a gay little kid, maybe not out, maybe questioning, walking through the aisles of Target like you do every week with your family, and you see a Pride display, does that give you, I don't know, does that give you some hope? Does that make you feel like you're not alone in this world? Does that or does it, or is it something you fear? I don't know. I found my gayness in the underwear aisle of Jordan Marsh. With the bulge and the But I don't know. That's and it's the same thing with Black History Month. I'm sorry, it's like it's every month. But do you want to erase Black History Month? I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm two minds.
I think your erotic longing for underwear is slightly different, though, because, if the underwear had like a pride flag on it, you might think twice about it. I love the pride flag, but it's just ugly. That's the, and there's nothing ugly about gay pride, but this suit that Target have turned out is kind of ugly.
But it's hard to put those colors together in fashion.
But, to Tom's point, I wonder if when I was in middle school, if a bunch of other kids were wearing Pride flags and Pride T-shirts and the teacher was wearing a Pride, I think that might have made me feel better and more at home. I don't know, Jazz. You looked like you were about to say something.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, wasn't some of the Target backlash not just for their collection, but the way they had displayed it? Like they had like a mother, a father, a kid, and like the kids,
like a heteronormative
like
mannequin.
But you are maybe incorrectly gendering the mannequins.
Oh my gosh. I got into a Facebook thing with a friend because I was singing the praises of the Lego set and saying how great it was that the Lego set, none of the figures in the Lego set, each one is a different color of the flag, and they're non-gendered. And I got into this fight about Lego trying to erase gender, and the only one that's gendered is a drag queen. And I was like, this is too much. This is too much. Like, I've never looked at a Lego figurine and thought it identifies gender one way or the other. But that is not to say that gender does not exist. It's just, it's a, what is it? It's a morass of overthinking.
Well, right? There is a lot of gatekeeping when it comes to pride, and a lot of people feel like it is, their way or the highway. And I think it's nice to keep the conversation going always, and whether you agree or disagree, we're still all in the same.
I think by the end of Pride Month, James, you should buy this suit and zhuzh it up a la Cruella, and we'll
get your own deal next year at Target.
As Bruce says, you better sequin it up or whatever.
The last thing I'll say is that Michelle Visage started posting different flags. Because there's a lesbian flag, there's the LGBTQIA, and she missed one. She got very upset, but and people were making fun of her, not Fenton. Oops. And so it's just the idea that, God loves all flags, I think is what I'm trying to say.
All
here.
right.
Thank you very much.
3, 6, 9, 12, 14. She posted 15 different flags. I was like, it's exhausting. What?
She still missed one after 15? There's more than 15?
I think by the time she got to 15, she had circled the block. She'd done it.
My favorite, there's the bisexual, there's the lesbian, there's the
trans, there's a black gay.
There's the abrosexual. That's my favorite. I don't know what it means, but it's a beautiful flag. Gorgeous color. Abrosexual, yeah.
Like bros? Like a bunch of bros having sex?
Let me see. The definition is it's sexuality that is changing or fluid.
Like abracadabra.
Right. Hey, I'm going to wrap it up. But before I go, I just wanted to say that RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 6 is coming soon. And you can meet the queens right now on the WoW Report. Meanwhile, on WoW Presents Plus, you can watch Drag Race España. That has launched. And speaking of Michelle, congratulations to her. Drag Race won 5 nominations for the Critics' Choice Real TV Awards, including Michelle Visage, who is up against Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh, I love it.
So may the best woman win.
Let's just say that Michelle squeezed out the win in that one.
I think that's why Michelle's posting all these flags, hoping to win an extra vote or two.
She's nominated. She didn't win. She's nominated.
Right.
Okay. That's a competition.
Sorry, just to put that in the right context.
Absolutely. Thank you for that correction. Look, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jazz.
Thank
you, Tom. Thank you, James.
Thank you,
Blake. Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go wow.